Chapter 4. A Book by the Devil, the Grimorium Verum. The Grimorium Verum, the True Grimoire. This is one of the most interesting of magical rituals, which include the famous grimoires or black books of the sorcerers. It is, in fact, nothing less than a magician's handbook, containing in small compass the entire rites of preparation, identification of spirits, conjuration, and the alleged achievement of the operator's every desire. A prominent churchman of my acquaintance, who has taken some interest in the rituals of magic, calls this a book by the devil. It does not come under the heading of a complete and original work, for there is no known magical book which fulfills the requirements of original authorship. Occultists sometimes delight in making petty distinctions between composite and other rituals. The fact is that every extant book of spells, charms, divination, or magical conjuration, whether working through the power of God, of the devil, of demons or angels, of flowers, stones or familiars, crystals or visions, is a work which has gone through innumerable hands, been edited and re-edited, and translated in many cases 2 or 3 times between different languages. Hence, when, for example, we find that some of the processes in the present work are closely allied to or are identical with some part of the Key of Solomon as we know it, we are not justified in saying, "Here is something interpolated from the Key of Solomon, a later edition. This is a composite ritual." In the present state of magical knowledge, we would be equally at liberty, and even more justified, in saying that, for all we know, the Grimorium Verum is more original than the Key, or that it is one of the original books of the Library of Hermes, or even the magical libraries of the Babylonians. No. The grimoires should be studied from any point of view but that of bibliographical criticism, for here we have absolutely no criteria to apply, and the confused attempts by various commentators to judge the grimoires from a semi-scientific standpoint serve only to make their work more ridiculous than they believe the grimoires themselves to be. There are, however, matters of general interest that can bear commentary in relation to the various versions of the Grimorium Verum. The oldest form in which it is known to us is in a printed volume, supposedly published by Alibek the Egyptian at Memphis 1517. In actual fact, unless the title page merely reproduces a page of the reputed manuscript original, it is not possible, from the typeface, binding, phraseology, and so on, that this book could date from such an early time. Deliberate deceit? More likely that the publisher wanted to escape from the possible consequences of publishing a book of black magic in Rome. Alibek, or Ali Beg, could be the name of an Egyptian after the occupation of that country by the Osmanli Turks, for he bears one of the titles of this conquering people. The title continues. Grimorium Verum, translated from the Hebrew into French by Plagiaire, Jésuite Dominicain, obviously a dig at Catholicism here, with a collection of curious secrets, the true clavicles of Solomon. Now, there were developed during the troublous days of struggle between magicians and the church certain conventions whereby something in the nature almost of a truce came into operation in the field of magic. Whereas originally the clerical opinion was that all magic outside essentially religious rituals was nothing less than the black art, during the centuries the effect of the magical research schools of Arabian Spain caused a shift in attitude. Henceforth, magic became officially understood as divided into the twin categories of black and white. The actual determination of which was which caused, as may be imagined, a considerable amount of trouble. Eventually, however, 3 main forms of white magic emerged. In the first, Christianization of the rites and formulae became the rule. The appeal to God was made in the name of Jesus Christ, and allusions to the New Testament were common. The older form, that which was based upon Judaism, continued in its own way, probably nurtured by Jewish necromancers. This preserved the purely Semitic approach, pentacles instead of crosses, agla and tetragrammaton in place of Christian phrases. The third and last form seemed to make no direct appeal to an all-powerful deity, and was named natural magic. In this category came several forms of alchemy, divining, crystal gazing, and semi-occult pseudosciences. The black art was roughly divided into two sections. The first was that of the traditional Christian concept of the devil and the pact that was made with him, to exchange a man's or woman's immortal soul for material advantages, and subject to a strict time limit. The second type of black magic did not involve quite such harsh penalties. The magician treated with demons rather in the way in which the Babylonians and later the Arabs did, on the assumption that devils were essentially less powerful than God, and that certain holy words, names or words of power, if known by the operator, could compel the allegiance of the said demons, whether they liked it or not. Man, therefore, may have been at the mercy of demons in his normal state, but the acquiring of knowledge of the words of power more than evened up the odds. Considered to appertain to black magic, too, was any process designed to harm, maim, or cause suffering to anyone. Such effects would be accomplished either through the pact with Satan, or by compelling demons to carry out dastardly schemes. It is self-evident, of course, that works of destruction had perforce to come under the heading of the black art, since all white magic concerned itself with operating through loaned divine power, which would not be granted for illegal, immoral, or sinful acts. Here it may be instructive to mention a sort of intermediary type of magic, used much by the Arabs and probably derived from Assyria. This consisted of the utilization of the supposed powers of jinn or genies, which are neither entirely good nor completely evil. In this they rather seem to resemble humanity, for they are capable of exercising whatever function they are constrained to perform. There are, it is true, good jinn and bad ones, males and females. Those which tradition says were imprisoned by Solomon in the brazen vessel and cast into the sea were almost all evil. But there are a number which are good, and some uncertain ones. They may be likened to a symbolic recognition of the possibility of the reality of a magical power, which can be harnessed to the will of the operator. It is interesting to note in this connection that at least one modern Arabian occult writer has likened the jinn to electricity. Jinn are, he explains, either good or bad, depending upon how you use them. They are an undoubted force, which exists everywhere, but their using depends upon certain requirements. We do not know their exact nature, any more than anyone knows what electricity actually is. To return to the Grimorium Verum. This book, by traditional definition, belongs to black magic, insofar as it tells the operator how to conjure what it admits are demons. Exponents of high magic could, however, equally plausibly argue that, since the operator is not submitting his soul to the said demons, and since he can control them and protect himself from them, the work could belong to white or high magic. It may be a distinction which, for its completion, depends upon the use made of the book by the individual operator himself. The contents of the grimoire may be summarized thus. There are full instructions to the would-be magician for his preparations, consecrations, and the rest. Then come the details of the making of the magical paraphernalia, such as the instruments, knife, sickle, pen, and the rest, and the accessories, such as the virgin parchment, the perfumes and the fumigations, and so on. Then there is the matter of the ritual sacrifice of the kid to the spirit whom it is desired to evoke. Also included are details of the actual demons, their names and powers, as well as their seals and characters, which are to be inscribed within or without the magical circle, with illustrations of them. Other illustrations are concerned with the strange inscriptions in unknown language which are to be carved or written on the instruments, paper, and the rest. Incantations are numerous, and every part of the ritual of evocation of the desired spirit is reproduced. From the point of view of other rituals of this nature, the Grimorium Verum is simpler, contains less taboos and restrictions for the sorcerer, and, above all, assumes that he knows nothing of the magical art, and hence begins at the beginning and gives the full details, grisly and otherwise. There may be reasons why, during the 19th century, this grimoire was, par excellence, the magical book of Europe. Apart from the edition dated 1517, there is another in French, and several copies are known as Italian editions of 1868 and 1880. This present version is the first to collate material from all these editions, and present the grimoire in what may be the most complete form that it has known since the original French or Italian manuscript was published. There is some mystery about actual manuscripts of the Grimorium Verum. The French version, for instance, seems to have been printed from a very incomplete copy. In fact, from what could have been some magician's notes from the complete manuscript. The Italian versions, on the other hand, seem to have been compiled with reference to a very complete manuscript whose whereabouts is not now known. There is another mystery about the Italian editions. They are in extraordinarily great demand. There is nowhere that one can get a copy at less than a price far greater than almost any other work of similar size and date. The price, in other words, is out of all proportion, sometimes insanely so, to the rarity of the book as a collector's piece. This means that quite a number of people are buying the Grimorium Verum for purposes other than mere collection. If they are buying for study and research, why has there been no recently edited English translation of the book? There is no answer possible to these queries. I have been carrying on a hunt for copies of this book for over 5 years, both in England and on the continent, and I have come across precisely 3 copies outside research libraries. One was sold in my presence for 100,000 francs, then £100, and the third was offered me 6 weeks ago at £70. Introduction to the Grimoire. In the first part, says the Grimoire, is contained various dispositions of characters, by which powers the spirits, or rather the devils, are invoked, to make them come when you will, each according to his power, and to bring whatever is asked, and that without any discomfort, providing also that they are on their part content, for this sort of creature does not give anything for nothing. Here the element of the pact with the demon is hinted at. There is a contractual relationship between the spirit and the sorcerer. In exchange for favours, something must be given in return. Sometimes it is said to be the soul of the magician himself. More frequently, if we are to believe the grimoires and commentators, it is the sacrifice of a virgin kid, a small animal, or even perfumes and food, as in the rites of the Key of Solomon, whose processes closely resemble some of those in the Grimorium Verum. The introduction continues that the operator will also find in the first part of the book the means of calling the elemental spirits, whether those of air, earth, sea, or the infernus, according to their correspondences. In the second part, we are told, are taught natural and supernatural secrets, which operate by the power of demons. You will find the manner to make use of them, and all without deceit. This proneness to deceive humanity seems deeply embedded in the demoniac character, and disobedience and cunning must be met and matched with fearlessness and superior knowledge. Forewarned is forearmed, say the sorcerers. The following text reproduces exactly the phraseology of the original grimoire. In the third part, you will find the key to the work with the manner of using it, but before starting this, it will be necessary to be instructed in the following. There are 3 powers, which are Lucifer, Beelzebub, and Astaroth. You must engrave their characters in the correct manner and at the appropriate hours. Believe me, all is of consequence, nothing to be forgotten. You must carry the said character with you. If you are male, in the right pocket, and it is to be written with your own blood, or that of a sea turtle. You put at 2 half circles the first letter of your name and surname, and if you wish more, you draw the character on an emerald or ruby, for they have great sympathy with the spirits, especially those of the sun, who are the most knowledgeable, and are better than the others. If you are a female, carry it, the character, on the left side between the breasts, like a reliquary, and always observing, as much as the other sex, to write or have engraved the character on the day and in the hour of Mars. Obey the spirits in this, that they may obey thee. The spirits who are powerful and exalted serve only their confidants and intimate friends, by the pact made or to be made according to certain characters at the will of Singambuth or of his secretary. Abidandes, of whom we will give you information, is the perfect acquaintance to call, conjure, and constrain, as you will see in the key, where you will be given the method of making a pact with spirits. Nature of pacts. There are only 2 kinds of pact, the tacit and the apparent, or explicit. You will know the one from the other if you read this little book. Know, however, that there are many kinds of spirits, some attractive and others not attractive. It is when you make a pact with a spirit and have to give the spirit something which belongs to you that you have to be on your guard. The kinds of spirits. In regard to spirits, there are the superior and the inferior. Names of the superiors are Lucifer, Beelzebub, Astaroth. The inferiors of Lucifer are in Europe and Asia and obey him. Beelzebub lives in Africa, and Astaroth inhabits America. Of these, each of them has 2 who order their subjects all that which the emperor has resolved to do in all the world, and vice versa. The appearance of spirits. Spirits do not always appear in the same shape. This is because they are not themselves of matter or form, and have to find a body to appear in, and one suitable to their intended manifestation and appearance. Lucifer appears in the form and figure of a fair boy. When angry, he seems red. There is nothing monstrous about him. Beelzebub appears sometimes in monstrous forms, sometimes like a giant cow, at times like a he-goat with a long tail. When angry, he vomits fire. Astaroth appears black in human shape. To invoke the spirits. It is only necessary, when you desire to invoke them, to call them by the characters which they themselves have given. And when you wish to invoke them, call them to serve you, in the manner taught in the third part. The two inferiors of Astaroth are Sagatana and Nesbiros. Lucifer has two demons under him, Satanachia and Agaleriap. Those of Beelzebub are Tarchimashe and Fleruti. There are yet other demons apart from these who are under Duke Sirach. There are 18 of these, and their names are Clownek, 1, Musizin, 2, Besho, 3, Fremost, 4, Klepoth, 5, Chil, 6, Mersilde, 7, Clister, 8, Sershade, 9, Sigal, 10, Hikpakth, 11, Humo, 12, Frukissier, 13, Guland, 14, Sogat, 15, Morael, 16, Frutimier, 17, and Huictigaras, 18. The second part of the SSJ. Agla, Adonai, Jehovah. There are other demons, but as they have no power, we shall not speak of them. The powers of the 18 above-mentioned ones are these. Clownek has power over riches, can cause treasures to be found. He can give great riches to he who makes a pact with him, for he is very much loved by Lucifer. It is he who causes money to be brought. Musisin has power over great lords, teaches all that happens in the republics and the affairs of the allies. Besho has power over storms and tempests, rain and hail, and other natural forces. Fremost has power over women and girls, and will help you to obtain their use. Klepoth makes you see all sorts of dreams and visions. Hil makes great earthquakes. Masilde has the power to transport anyone in an instant anywhere. Clister allows you to have day or night, whichever you wish, when you desire either. Sashade makes you see all sorts of natural and supernatural animals. Hikpakth will bring you a person in an instant, though he be far away. Humo can bring you any book you may desire. Sigal will cause all sorts of prodigies to appear. Frukissier revives the dead. Guland causes all illnesses. Sogat opens every kind of lock. Morael can make anything invisible. Frutimier prepares all kinds of feasts for you. And Huictigaras causes sleep in the case of some, and insomnia in others. Under Satanachia and Satanishii are 45, or according to others 54, demons. 4 of these, the chiefs, are Seguthi, Heramiel, Trimasiel, and Sustugriel. The others are of no great consequence. These spirits are of great advantage, and they work well and speedily, in the case that they are pleased with the operator. Seguthi has power over maidens and wives when things are favorable. Heramiel teaches the art of healing, including the complete knowledge of any illness and its cure. He also makes known the virtues of plants, where they are to be found, when to pluck them, and their making into a complete cure. Trimasael teaches chemistry and all matters of conjuring of the nature of deceit or sleight of hand. He also teaches the secret of the making of the powder of projection, by means of which the base metals may be turned into gold or silver. Sustugriel teaches the art of magic. He gives familiar spirits that can be used for all purposes, and he gives also mandragoras. Agaleriapt and Tarihimal are the rulers of Elelogap, who in turn governs matters connected with water. Nebirots rules Hael and Sergolath. The former, Hael, teaches anyone to speak in any language he will, and also teaches the means whereby any type of letter may be written. He is also able to teach those things which are most secret and completely hidden. Sergolath gives every means of speculation. In addition, he instructs as to the methods of breaking the ranks and strategy of opponents. Subject to these, there are the 8 most powerful subordinates. 1. Proculo, who can cause a person to sleep for 48 hours with the knowledge of the spheres of sleep. 2. Haristum, who can cause anyone to pass through fire without being touched by it. 3. Brulifer, who causes a person to be beloved of women. 4. Pentagnony, who gives the 2 benefits of attaining invisibility and the love of great lords. 5. Aglasis, who can carry anyone or anything anywhere in the world. 6. Sidragosam causes any girl to dance in the nude. 7. Minosun is able to make anyone win at any game. And 8. Bucon can cause hate and spiteful jealousy between members of the sexes.